Hey there. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the psych tests that are required by my insurance, so my process that I went to. It's my understanding that most insurance, if not all insurance companies, require you to have a psychological test before they'll approve you for bariatric surgery. So I'm pursuing gastric bypass surgery specifically, but this information should be helpful for anybody pursuing bariatric surgery who wants to have insurance cover it. So going into my first psych visit, I was very nervous. I've never talked to a psych doctor before in my life, and I wanted to be myself and I wanted to be approved. So I did a ton of research. I went on one of my Facebook groups and asked for some advice of what others had gone through in the past, and I had a wide variety of things that people went through. Everything from a 15-minute quick visit to say, yep, you are mentally sound to have this surgery, all the way to several appointments and several months later. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. I called and made an appointment with my psych doctor that I found through my insurance in early March, so right before quarantine hit here in the Portland area. And I was able to make an appointment. And my first appointment, they said, would be about 2 hours. And that made me a little nervous, but they reassured me that the first hour was a personality type test. So I would sit in a room with other people and take personality, fill in the blank type tests to get a baseline of where I was coming from. And so I was mentally prepared for that. And then a couple days before my appointment, we were put into quarantine for the COVID-19 pandemic. And so my appointment was postponed until they could figure out how to socially distance the people that needed to come in for those exams. And so I patiently, ever so patiently waited. And then I got a phone call and they rescheduled me for about a week later, which was really nice. And so there wasn't too much delay. And so right before my appointment occurred, they called me again and said, actually, we can't figure out how to social distance people. We're gonna have to do your psych evaluation over video chat with your doctor. So my first appointment was finally April 7th, but beforehand, I had to fill out some personality tests. I believe there was 4 of them before I saw the psych doctor, so I filled those out. And it went really well. I answered all the questions. Basically, what he wanted to know is, am I prepared for the surgery? Did I do my research? Do I know what I'm talking about? Do I know the risks? And do I know what my life will be like afterwards? Another piece was my doctor really wanted to make sure that I had a strong support system at home for during and after my surgery, because having gastric bypass surgery and going through all the changes of your habits can take a very big toll mentally. So part of my toolbox coming out on the other side is to have my psych doctor at my side to be able to have appointments and walk me through the process and walk me through my food addiction. So it was very important to him that I had a very strong support system at home. And once he was satisfied that I had checked all the boxes and that he felt like I was mentally sound, at the end of my appointment, he said, sounds like you're ready for this. I have no reservations on whether or not you're mentally sound to have this surgery, which was a huge relief to me because the psych eval was a really big hurdle for me and I was really nervous for it. And so he asked me at the end, do I plan on continuing my psych visits after surgery? I said yes. And he said, great, I'd love to talk to you in 2 weeks. Perfect. So I set another appointment for 2 weeks later. And meanwhile, I kind of waited to see if my paper had been turned into my surgeon's office. I was in close contact with them and nothing had been turned in, but COVID was happening. It was when everybody was kind of being furloughed or working for home. So there's a lot of chaos. So I had to have a lot of grace and a lot of patience because I know that they were also going through a lot of changes, which is hard for everybody. So my surgery center closed down because it was an elective surgery center, and it's in Southern California, and all of Southern California closed down. At this point, I wasn't in a hurry anymore. I went to my second psych evaluation and it went really well. We dove a little bit deeper and I got to know my doctor a little bit more. And at the end of that call, I asked him about the paperwork and he said, oh yeah, well, we'll get it put together. And then I made a third appointment. So at this time, we're at the beginning of May. I got off the phone with my doctor and I called his assistant to see if the paperwork had been turned in. She assured me it had. So I contacted the surgery center and they had not seen anything. However, they had moved a bunch of things and they gave me a new fax number. I gave it to the psych doctor's office and kind of forgot about it. At the end of my third psych appointment, my doctor told me that he would get the paperwork ready and send it over to my surgeon's office. Well, I was a little surprised at that revelation because I thought he already had. So I was a little frustrated. However, my surgery center wasn't making any new appointments for elective surgeries anyways. So I kind of just let it go, brushed it off. And I contacted my surgery center and said, hey, finally the paperwork's done, be on the lookout for it. So fast forward to May 19th, and the surgery center finally receives my psych evaluation. So they receive it, I'm excited, I email them, we do a big hoorah, and they said that there's a new girl training, that she will be my contact going forward, and she will be up and ready to go on Friday, which was the next day. So Friday comes and goes, Monday's a holiday, Tuesday comes and goes. So I wrote an email on Wednesday saying, hey, just checking in, what's going on? Thursday comes and goes, and I get to the end of Friday and I finally hear back and they said, we received your psych paperwork and our social worker is looking it over. Nobody ever told me that a social worker needed to look it over. I would have been a little less psychotic and a little less stalky if I would have known. So I wrote them an email back and just said, hey, thank you. I really appreciate your time, and I didn't realize the process. I look forward to hearing from her. So fast forward to June 1st, and I finally receive a email from the social worker that says, hey, I looked over your paperwork, it looks awesome. Your next step is to finally meet the surgeon and have an appointment with your surgeon. And then she called me immediately afterwards. We had an awesome phone conversation. She's awesome. And she said that I will be contacted by the department that makes the appointments, and it should be fairly soon. Well, today's June 4th, so 4 days later, and I'm still waiting for a phone call to make an appointment with my surgeon. So it's a huge waiting game, so be prepared for that. I think that's been the hardest part of all of this, is you hurry to get all this stuff done and then you wait. And then you hurry to get a whole bunch of other stuff done and then you wait. So at each stage, there's something that you're waiting for. So at this point, there's absolutely nothing else that I could be doing to further this along. other than sitting and waiting, and it's excruciating. It's really rough. So hopefully my next update will be that I have spoken to my psych doctor and that I have been able to submit my paperwork to the insurance company, but who knows? I am gonna go ahead and put a video out about my biggest fears right now, so that should be interesting and fun to watch. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what those fears are that I want to construe to you, but one of them is loose skin. I'm really not sure how I'm going to deal with that. I don't know if I'll have any. I don't know if I'll have a lot or little, but it's one of the things in the back of my mind. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you.